I'm 15F, and my older siblings and I often joke about each other's crushes. They attend a public school, while I go to a virtual school, so I don't get out much. Because of this, my family, especially my parents, assumes that I like every guy I talk to. There's this boy at church who's 18 and the pastor's son. As you can probably guess, he's much older than me. Do I talk to him? Yes. Do I laugh at his jokes? Yes. But do I like him like that? No. To me, he feels more like an older brother than anything else. Last Sunday was Easter, and we, the youth group, helped with Easter baskets and the egg hunt, which I really enjoyed. I was working with the pastor's son, another boy who is 19, and a girl who's 17. We are the oldest teens who regularly attend church. While talking outside with my younger sister, the pastor's son, the 17-year-old girl, and another girl who's 14, we were chatting with a funny church member. We all started laughing, and my aunt was in the car watching. According to her, it looked like only my little sister and I were standing close to the pastor's son. In reality, there were at least 6 of us outside, and a wagon full of eggs was between us. Later, she told my mom that during the egg hunt, I was trying to behave cutely and impress him. This was not true. I was actually having a competition with another girl to see how far we could throw the eggs. She won. My aunt claimed I was dropping the eggs nice and clean, but I know I wasn't. The pastor's son hadn't even been outside when we were hiding the eggs. He came out later, and by the time he joined us, I had already finished my work. The president of the youth group, whom I affectionately call my auntie, mentioned that we had been working together for the past 2 years. After my aunt's comments, my mom told my dad, and he responded, "I'm not smiling at you. There's not a smile on my face. Don't stand next to him at all. There's no reason." I thought this was unnecessary because I really wasn't standing that close to him. Then my dad called the youth group president and told her that I wasn't allowed to help with the youth group anymore. I have no idea why this is happening. My aunt laughed at this, saying, "See there, that's what happens." Now, she has texted me asking if I could watch my younger cousin while she goes out with her husband. I said no. My mom got upset, saying that this had nothing to do with the reason I couldn't help with the youth group any longer. I believe otherwise. My aunt has done this multiple times. Comment 1. Girl, do as much work as you can in your virtual school, read everything you can get your hands on, particularly classic fiction, try to talk to as many people as you can, and when you are ready, fly away. Comment 2. Take on as much extra work as you can for school to get extra credit and better grades. And take up your time so you are just too busy to babysit. Start talking about preparing for college and good transcripts, then find a community sports team or theater or something in your interest and tell them it's to pad your transcript. The better you look, the more scholarships you get. And the more you do, the less time you have to help your jerk of an aunt. Use a focus on college to focus on yourself and find new people and new friends. If they push back against you getting out and doing things with others, keep pressing them with how necessary it is for college. Apply to schools far away, and then use that to not have to visit a lot. Comment 3. Tell the truth to your parents. Your aunt is a liar, and you do not want to have anything to do with her. Repeat it. Also tell your parents that instead of believing a well-known liar, they could have asked the youth president, or the other people you were around. Story 2, not letting new neighbors put scaffolding on my drive for 2 weeks. Hi, a couple have recently bought the house next door to us and are having improvements done to it. The house had an extension built onto their drive, meaning they now don't have a drive and have no access to their back garden. However, there is a gate that goes into my drive that I have blocked off as they assume that they have access and have seen multiple people on my drive without asking me first. Last week, I saw a builder knocking at my door on the doorbell camera, but I was at work. He came round at 7:40 the next morning and said that they'd need to put scaffolding on my drive to have improvements done to the roof next door. I said no, and he asked why. Firstly, it's my drive. Secondly, the new neighbors should have come round and asked rather than telling the builder to do it. He said that the man moving in had been up multiple times and tried knocking. This was a lie, as I work from home 90% of time and can see through the doorbell camera. The couple came round the following evening and asked about it. This was the first interaction I'd had with them. However, a week prior, my partner's mum had parked outside their house to pick her and our 8-month-old daughter up. I found that a note had been put onto her windscreen saying, "Please don't block my drive." She wasn't blocking the drive, was there about 5 minutes, and was on a raised curb, which is totally legal to park on. He didn't come and say anything whilst I was there, but as soon as I went back in the house, he said something to my partner and her mum. My main issues are that they've assumed they can use my property, didn't ask themselves and got a builder to do it, lied about coming up and knocking on the door saying we weren't in, and now wants my drive for 2 weeks when we can't park outside their house for 5 minutes, not blocking driveway which had been extended. I know that through the On-Law Act that for urgent and essential repairs they can use someone's drive. However, does this apply when they've bought a house that has voluntarily blocked their drive off? Furthermore, the house was up for £270,000 and they offered £266,000. I'm pretty sure that if the roof needed to be replaced urgently, it would have been a lot cheaper than this. Comment 1. NTA: This has the makings of a one-sided neighbor relationship. If they are sticking notes on cars that are parked legally, there's no chance they would let you put scaffolding in their garden. Nope, I wouldn't even entertain them except for laying out the reasoning behind your decision. Comment 2. Might be a stretch, but are you and your neighbors from different cultural backgrounds? I've had neighbors in the past who don't quite get etiquette and social norms because we are from different cultural backgrounds. NTA: And also not your problem. I wouldn't concede to someone's rude presumptions just to keep a peaceful relationship. Comment 3. NTA: We allowed a neighbor to put a couple of pallet loads of landscaping supplies on some of our ground on the basis the work would take about 6 weeks. They fell out with their tradesman and 2 years later the gear is all still taking up about a parking space-sized piece of our property. Sadly, the lesson we've learned is don't give a neighbor anything and always get a signed contract that gives you rights to do something about reclaiming your ground if you do enter into an agreement, especially where a third party is involved. Story 3. Cancelling my visit to my niece's birthday the day we were due to leave. I, mid-30M, was supposed to visit my sister, early 30F, and my niece for her 3rd birthday this weekend. We live about 4.5 hours away by car, each way, and originally the plan was that my wife and I would drive down Friday night, spend Saturday and Sunday with my niece, and go to a birthday lunch on Sunday before heading home. However, over the last couple of weeks, my sister changed the plans a few times, including pushing things back to just Sunday lunch rather than the whole weekend. At the time we made the plans, I thought it was a bank holiday weekend, meaning I'd have Monday off work. I also hadn't realized the lunch was booked for 3 p.m. on Sunday. If I'd noticed that earlier, I would have raised concerns because it would mean getting home extremely late. It wasn't until the day we were supposed to leave, today, that I fully processed the lunch was 3 p.m., there was no extra day off, and we'd be doing 9 hours of driving just to spend a short time there, and not getting back to London until after 11 p.m., before a busy work week. I decided not to make the trip. As soon as I made the decision, I messaged my sister asking her to call when she could. She was out at a safari park with her daughter, and I didn't want to spoil their day by dumping it in a text. When she called, I explained everything calmly. She told me I was annoying her and hung up. She has since messaged to say she's upset with both me and my wife, and that she doesn't think our reasons are good enough. I feel bad about upsetting her, but I genuinely don't think it would have been reasonable to do the drive for such little time, knowing how wrecked I'd be for work the next day. At the same time, I understand it was a big deal to her because it's her little girl's birthday. Comment 1. It is on you that you didn't process that lunch on Sunday was at 3 p.m. and also that it wasn't a bank holiday, so I would say you do need to be more responsible on agreeing to things and double-check dates and times. I would still say NTA though. It was an honest mistake and they did cancel the plans earlier in the week, which means people driving in have less incentive to come if hanging with family is the whole point. Comment 2. NTA. It's too far a drive, she changed the plans, she should have realized how much she was asking of you, and she shouldn't have blamed your wife, your decision. But next time, pay attention to the details, so you can say no earlier. She has absolutely no reason to be annoyed. Comment 3. Your sister's being immature. These are adult problems and you're being realistic that the amount of driving without a long weekend, and the later lunch, meaning you'd have to leave later, makes it a challenging ask. If you're close with your sister and niece, then I can understand the frustration and disappointment, but this is just how real life works sometimes. You can mail your niece a birthday present or you can go visit some other time. That said, it's kinda crazy you assumed you had a long weekend. I'm older than you are, I don't think I've ever once made that mistake in my life. Story 4, not picking the restaurant my cousin wanted? I, 25F, just recently received a great promotion at work and I'm really excited about it. Because of this I decided to invite some family out to dinner to celebrate. I chose a steakhouse and when my cousin, Aria, 32F, found out it was a steakhouse, called me to let me know that I had to pick a different restaurant. When I asked why, she explained it was because she was vegan, gluten-free, and also has a few allergies and couldn't trust that they wouldn't cross-contaminate her food. I explained to her that there were vegan and gluten-free options and we could let the restaurant know of her allergies so everything would be fine. She refused, saying it doesn't make a difference, and told me if I don't pick a different restaurant she wouldn't attend, and hung up. This has happened in the past as well. Whenever I want to go out to a restaurant, whether it's for an event or a birthday, she has an issue with it and has been doing this since I was younger. I remember when I turned 16 she told my parents that I had picked a restaurant she couldn't eat at. Because of this my parents let her pick where we went for my birthday, and she picked one of my least favorite restaurants and I had no fun. To be honest, I don't really care if she attends or not, so I texted her and let her know that I wouldn't be changing the restaurant. Because of this she's been going absolutely feral and texting others to not attend because I'm being inconsiderate. I've been asked if maybe I can change the restaurant for her preferences, but I denied. Comment 1, NTA. It's your celebration. You get to decide where to hold the party. You shouldn't let one guest dictate where you can eat. There are options for people with dietary restrictions. Many restaurants do have vegan and gluten-free options these days. She can also ask about bringing her own food. You offered to contact the restaurant beforehand and see what they could do to accommodate her. That's all you had to do. If she doesn't feel this is enough, or she doesn't want to attend, she isn't obligated to be there. Given the way she's acting, I wouldn't invite her to future events. Comment 2. NTA, it's your party but sounds like she'll cry if she wants to. When you turned 16, she was around the age you are now. As you are, could you imagine making a teenage girl miserable on her sweet 16 just because you felt that entitled? I'm sure you'd feel like a raging and rightfully so, because that's exactly what she is. The rest of your family is used to be doing over backwards to appease her. That doesn't mean you have to or even should. If they don't attend because she's playing victim, then I can't imagine they would have been the most pleasant company anyway. Whoever does attend are the real ones, and I hope you have a great celebration with them. Extra, telling my mom I'm used to it after my parents ruined the surprise of my engagement and the wedding dress. I, 27F, am getting married in September 2025. I'm in a long-distance relationship. My partner lives in England and I'm in the US. We're lucky enough that I work remote and visit about 3 times a year for 6 weeks at a time, and he visits me in the US about 4 times a year for once a week. When he was planning to propose, he had asked my parents' blessing in March 2024. My parents had assumed that I would know when he was proposing, and my dad had told me a conversation that following week he was proposing in December 2024. As you could imagine, I was upset. My mother invalidated my feelings and said I was making it a big deal and being stupid for not assuming it was going to be during Christmas because that's when both of our families were together. My argument is that while I could have had a hunch, I didn't want to be told when it was, and basically could have gone practically a whole year wondering excitedly when it would be. For all I know, he could have proposed before that, and Christmas we would have had an engagement party. Anyway, basically my dad apologized, but my mom has stood firm on saying I'm dramatic for being upset. Since then, more things have gone wrong, and has started to leave me just so sad about wedding planning. None of this has been a good experience and I've started to feel like it's a chore. Flash forward to today, my partner is visiting, just for 1 week, and we're all sitting on the couch in the living room. My mom randomly turns to me and goes, "Have you picked up your veil from the bridal store yet?" Right in front of him. And then my partner smiles and goes, "Oh, you're wearing a veil?" And I just got super frustrated. There are only 2 surprises in a wedding, the engagement and the dress. And both of them have been handled so carelessly. So I turned to my mom and said, "Can you please not mention anything about the dress? Not the shoes, nothing. I don't want him knowing anything." She rolls her eyes, walks around, and about 10 minutes later gives a half-hearted apology just saying, "Sorry, OP." And I replied, "It's fine. I'm used to it at this point." And now she's gone back and locked herself in the room.